Hello, Jordan.
What's up, Michael?
Welcome to the How to Become a Personal Trainer podcast. We have an announcement.
We have a huge announcement.
The biggest.
Probably the biggest announcement in the history of announcements. Everyone's going to say, wow, that's a huge announcement.
We're on sale. For the least expensive the fitness business mentorship will ever be going forward. If you want to build an online fitness business, I don't care if you're a brand new coach and you're just starting out and you don't know where to begin, or you're a seasoned vet as a coach, but you want to improve your online fitness business skills, improve your systems, improve your content, improve your ability to communicate on a social media landscape. If you want to improve your ability to communicate with your clients, any of that. If you want to join our online fitness business mentorship, you can apply right now. It is the least expensive it will ever be, because after this, the next sale, we are not going to have a discount. It's just going to be the sale before we increase the price. So if you want to get in at the lowest the price will ever be, apply right now. Link is in the show notes. Anything you want to add to that?
Not a ton. That's very well said. The sale is ending very soon. So if you are hearing
very soon,
I'd apply right now if you're interested.
By the way, this is a bad sales tactic. A good sales tactic is we make a date and we say the sale is ending on this day. So what we're doing right now is bad, but we're okay with that. You need to apply right now.
No. What I am doing is bad, and I'm okay with that because I've built my career on being an awful salesman. In fact,
yeah.
You're like, I agree. You are. It's shocking what you've accomplished in spite of your lack of ability to sell.
It just shows how good of a coach you are and how honest you are. You don't even need to be a great salesman. You're just so good.
I made t-shirts. Don't buy them.
Yeah.
Don't buy them.
That literally happened. Mike made t-shirts. He literally made t-shirts and he was like, please don't buy these t-shirts. And then he made a fortune selling t-shirts.
I definitely didn't make a fortune. That was
literal fortune.
Jordan making a gross exaggeration, but people did buy the t-shirts. I mean, people wanted the t-shirts, which is why I made the t-shirts. But I could go on many tangents from here. What I will say is I want to highlight we've had coaches who didn't even have a business or in-person coaching experience when joining the mentorship, who are literally starting from scratch. And we've had coaches with 15 years of in-person coaching experience and want to grow their online business, or already have an online business and want to grow their online business bigger, or just improve as a coach. And people from all walks of life and levels of business have seen success in the group. And so there aren't a lot of restrictions other than, you're someone who's listened to this podcast for at least a few episodes and you're on the same page with our values and our ethos, right? We're not trying to sell 12 months of high ticket coaching in advance and collect that cash and deliver the service down the road. We're not trying to DM 3,000 people and convince them and twist their arm to join our online fitness coaching program. We want to help people for free. And on the back end of that, those people who might be interested in your service, you get to help them and get paid to do it. And you're going to have to work really hard to grow your business. It's going to take time. It's not going to happen in 6 months. It's not going to happen in a year. It's going to take years. But if you do put in that work, there's a lot of benefit on the back end, both in terms of the sense of accomplishment and pride that comes from helping people in this industry, especially if you're passionate about it. And if you're listening, you're definitely passionate about it, as well as on the personal side, the flexibility that comes from being an entrepreneur. But we are a self-employed, having your own business and being able to set your own hours and have more work-life balance are benefits if you put in the years of work up front.
I think one of my favorite things about the mentorship is we do Q&As every week. So every week we have like an hour, often more, an hour Q&A where we talk with everyone in the mentorship. They ask their questions and we answer their questions. Sometimes like they'll ask so many questions that we have to push them to the next week. Like there's a lot of questions there, which are amazing. One of my favorite parts is I'd say about 50% of the questions are about how to grow their business in some capacity, whether it's their systems, whether it's social media, whether it's like some form of growth perspective. And the other 50% are actual, how do I be a better coach questions? Like my client is struggling with this. What do you recommend? It's one of those things where I don't know of any other business type program that has as much emphasis on actually being a good coach. And it's something where when I was a younger coach, I would have loved to have had a group of other coaches to help run ideas off of when I was struggling with a client. Having a client struggling with this, come in the group, ask a question, client is struggling with a technique, client is struggling with being consistent. Like, that's what we're there for. Like, we help you not just help your business, but also help your clients. So that's one of my favorite parts about it.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And that speaks to the values and ethos, and that speaks to where the heart and like motivation is for a lot of these coaches in the group. It also, and I think that goes without saying, but it also speaks to a level of intelligence around business where if I am the best coach I can be and I help my clients to the greatest of my ability, they're going to want to work with me longer. I'm not going to have to work as hard to get new clients. And it's a good business strategy. Doing the right thing is always the right thing is something Gary always said, which applies here.
Yeah. Applies to everything. It's always the right thing. Do it.
It is. It is.
Join the mentorship. Apply to join the mentorship. Link in the show notes.
Yes.
That's it.
Jordan.
Yo.
You got some unfollows on the social media over the last couple of weeks.
Bro, I got like 5,000 unfollows.
People are unfollowing Syatt Fitness. Is it because they're not pumped about the calorie deficit anymore and they think that there are other strategies that are better for fat? Is that why they've unfollowed you, do you think?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think they've realized that I was a shill, a calorie deficit shill. That I had ulterior motives behind the calorie deficit discussion.
Yeah, you do. I've always said that.
I've always said that. I've always said he had ulterior motives.
No, it was crazy. I was wondering, because it was literally the day after the election, and I didn't say anything about the election. I didn't say anything. There was nothing on my feed about it. And I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like crazy unfollows. And then I started getting a lot of people DMing me, asking me, why do you follow Donald Trump? And I noticed that they were people who were unfollowing me. And I was like, hold on. Just to be clear, I also follow Joe Biden as well, right? And they're like, yeah, but why do you follow Donald Trump? And I'm like, well, because he was a former president, now the president-elect. And the same reason I follow Joe Biden is because I want to know what they're saying. Well, I want to know what, and by the way, like, you're not asking why I follow local officials in my area, why I follow many different people in politics. I've always found it interesting when people will only follow people that they agree with 100% of the time. Because those are also the same people who will say things like, you're brainwashed, or you're only being fed propaganda, or like you're in a vacuum. It's like, no, you are literally in a vacuum, only surrounding yourself with people who are saying things you agree with. So yeah, I'm almost positive the vast majority of people, what they were doing is they were because I actually had a conversation with one of them. She was like, because I was like, wait, did you go into my followers and just go check to see if I'm following Trump, and if I do, you unfollow me? She was like, no, what I did is I went to Trump's page, I checked who follows him, and all the people who follow him come up first. And I was like, oh my gosh. And then apparently there are many people who follow him who lost huge numbers of followers in the last week or so. So yeah, that's what happened.
Yeah. And after we talked about this, I had also seen some content from and random comments and comment sections with thousands of likes on them saying, go unfollow anyone who follows Trump. Don't support anyone who follows, like that kind of thing. So clearly that was happening in masses. I'm curious because I assume you followed both Trump and Biden for...
I followed Biden
for a number of years.
I followed Biden since he was elected president, since he was president-elect.
Did you ever get DMs from people being like, why do you follow Biden? No.
Never. Yeah. It's sad. It's really sad. I've loved seeing how Biden welcomed Trump in to the Oval Office, and they had a great meeting yesterday. And they were both smiling. Jill was with them. Joe was there. They were all smiling. They both said it was an amazing meeting. Trump, like, I literally read a quote and I read it in his voice about how great the meeting. Oh, let me read this. I read it in his voice, and one of the comments was, this is on one of my favorite news stations. It's called Ride the News, Roca News. They're very impartial. They don't take advertisers in various industries so that they can remain impartial. Literally just like 2 hours ago, they posted all these pictures from the meeting. Also, if you're watching on YouTube, like you're going to see the pictures from the meeting. Hold on one sec. Here's a great one. Jill, Joe, and Don all just smiling, hanging out outside the Oval Office. And they have quotes. They said, President Biden called for a, quote, smooth transition and said that he would make sure Trump is accommodated, which I loved. And Trump responded,
Politics is tough, and it's in many cases not a very nice world, but it is a nice world today, and I appreciate it very much. A transition that's so smooth, it'll be as smooth as it can get, and I very much appreciate that, Joe.
I saw a video of him saying that.
A transition that's smooth, so smooth, it's as smooth as it can get.
Hilarious. Hilarious.
Yeah.
There's a lot to pull from there, and I don't know how much we want to talk about this. We're also going to be 10 or 12 days delayed on the upload here, and with like the political news cycle, who knows how relevant or like correct, this would be at that point. But him seemingly being as happy about it as he is I think
it's interesting.
Well, yeah, it's a testament to him not being. Look, who knows? Maybe he just is that like classy, which
Joe.
Yeah, and like good for him. But there also seems to be a bit of middle finger to the party and how he was treated.
He clearly wanted to run. He clearly wanted to continue going.
He kept throughout the whole month of June, and I'm the only one who can beat him on and like I'm not dropping out over and over and over again. And then they had the suspicious letter posted to his Instagram was his announcement, quote unquote announcement, whatever happened there.
Yeah. I would love to know what happened there. I mean, I feel like at one point there's going to be books written about like what actually happened behind the scenes. But yeah, very interesting. It is nice to see like a smooth transition. And it is interesting. A lot of people are like, you shouldn't talk to them, shouldn't support them. Meanwhile, that president is welcoming him in with open arms. And
another big takeaway for me here is I really am becoming even more of a believer that the middle 90% of the country are not very loud at all, especially on social media. And
that they're scared.
And maybe like slightly less, yes, definitely, but also just slightly less interested, perhaps, and their career doesn't hinge on it, right? So you have people in media on the right and the left whose career is to talk about politics, and they make money on it, whether formally or informally. I just think that it's becoming more clear that those loud voices are at the fringe, and not the 1% fringe, right? I'm not talking like Nazi versus communist, but even if you come in a little bit on the bell curve, and for example, 2 weeks ago we talked about the people having meltdowns. Not 90+% of the country wasn't having a meltdown. The people who were having public meltdowns on video are at the fringe. And that gets, right, that's drama, that's excitement, that gets amplified. So that ends up in people's feeds. But the majority of people aren't having meltdowns. I'm maybe a little bit reassured that most people are I don't want to say centrist, but just like not on the extreme on either side.
Yeah. I like that. I think that's a fair way to put it. It's encouraging. It's reassuring, especially after the last almost decade. I feel like I think as a country, we just need to be like, all right, we're all united. We're one country. Let's move forward.
Yeah.
What about you? You get a lot of unfollows?
I don't know. I don't look.
Are you? What's your plan? 2025. What's some of your plans for 2025?
Make 52 unbelievable episodes of the How to Become a Personal Trainer podcast. You mean like business plans?
Yeah.
Wow, Jordan's on 2025 goal setting here on November 14th, really getting after it. You're really on the ball. More of the same on business. I remember Pat Flynn once said to you and I, in private, but he would have no problem with us repeating this. I think what he said was, when asked, how's business? Not setting any PRs, but things are going really well. I'm really happy with how things are going based on the amount of energy and effort I'm putting towards it. It's going good, and I'm focused on other things as well, in outside of fitness for him, and in his private life, etc., family. I'm not going to be setting PRs in 2025, but I want to make some good podcasts.
You never know. You might. Not any like hours PRs. Like you're not like working that long, but who knows? Maybe people listening will finally realize I got to join the mentorship, and we'll hit some PRs there.
Oh yeah, when I say PR, I'm thinking like taxable income. All in for the year. I have settled into a place where I enjoy working with a set number of clients that is, and specific types of clients and people who I have come to really enjoy working with. Many of my online coaching clients I've been working with for a long time. And I'm not trying to like grow that number. And so, more of the same in 2025 is my plan right now.
I love that.
But just a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit leaner, a little bit more jacked, just as natty.
Natty Mike.
Yeah, we don't need to go down to natty or not. Although I feel like our natty or not, the episode and clip both got a disproportionate number of clicks on YouTube.
Oh, did it? Interesting. Interesting.
Yeah, people want to know who's out there shilling. They want to know who the real not the calorie deficit shills, the steroid shills.
Yeah.
And I don't blame them. I don't. Hey, you want to guess what? You want someone to go unfollow and not support their work? It ain't a politician. It's the fake natties. All right.
Yeah, fake natties are the worst.
That's who. Go to their page, see who you follow.
Yeah.
What about you? 2025 plans?
I was just talking about this morning. I think one of my big goals is to move to a 4-day work week.
Interesting.
Like I want to get, and this is a goal. It doesn't mean like people fail with their goals all the time, but like that's one of my major goals.
What's your current number of days work week?
I mean, I do something every day, but like the basic explanation is for a couple of years now, every Friday is my shooting day with Mitch for YouTube and stuff. And now that my daughter's in school, on Fridays, they have the ability for the parents to come in and like interact with the kids during their school day. And I did that on her first Friday school day, and it was just awesome. And so I would love to move Mitch to another day of the week and then have Friday just be, because Saturday is always family day anyway. So have full Friday family day, daughter at school, be there interacting there. Saturday, regular family day, and then Sunday is regular family day as well. So that would essentially turn into I would still do stuff. Like there are still times like during their nap times and stuff, but like not having, essentially making it so Friday isn't a full work day. Friday is like more of a family day. And then, you know what I mean? It's just like, it's not a full work day.
I love it. Move, so have more family time on Fridays. What I'm thinking is from a new coach or someone who's trying to grow their business perspective, I don't want to shortchange you on what, like,
correct. I'm still working.
Yeah. You're grinding. You grind. And so there's going to be content made when you have gaps in time. You're going to reply to DMs.
Correct.
You're texting. You have people who work
Stories,
with you.
Q&As.
There aren't days off.
Correct. When you own your own business, there aren't days off, to be fair. Like that just doesn't exist. I don't think I've ever had a full, even when I'm sick, traveling, you own your own business, you're signing up for no full days off. Like that's just how it works.
Yeah.
But like there, when I can, like having what you're trading is you don't get full days off, but you do get to choose when and where you allocate that work. So for me to be able to say, you know what, Fridays are like the family day. And then if I want to find some spots throughout that day to get some work done, I can, but I have the freedom to say, I'm going to move my schedule around. I'm not going to shoot videos on Friday. I'll move that to a different day so I can go to my daughter's school and be there during the Friday. That's essentially the trade-off.
I like it. We'll hold you to it.
Thanks, bro.
Audience, help me hold Jordan to his 2025 goal.
Let's do it. That's it, man. Should we do a Q&A?
Fire that baby up.
Liz Johnson sent a DM. She said, I have a question for the podcast. Do you believe in keeping up with certifications such as NASM, but not just NASM, any certifications?
You want to start?
Yeah, I mean, we could make this either really long or really short. There are many ways we could go with it. I would say generally our thought processes on certifications they're not inherently worthless. There are some benefits to some certifications. Obviously, some are better than others, but here's what I would say. If you're a brand new coach and you don't know where to begin with education, I think some certifications can be a really good idea. Just to give you a base level of knowledge and start learning terminology and understanding, okay, this is where to begin.
Do you have a recommendation or a few that you would recommend?
I mean, from a nutrition perspective, I've always been a huge fan of Precision Nutrition. I'm also biased because that was the first one that I ever got outside of school, outside of college education. And I think they did a really good job. And from what I've heard, they've continued to do a good job. But sort of along this line, I've never re-upped my certification with Precision Nutrition. I've never paid to continue to be certified through them. Mm-hmm. So to answer the actual question, no, I wouldn't pay to continue to be re-upping a certification. But if there's a certain type of skill or there's something that that this group is advertising as a skill you want to learn, I definitely see benefit in doing a certification in order to learn more about that methodology. Personally, here's what I would say is probably better than certification. And this is also this is a different option than interning. A lot of what we say is go intern somewhere, but not everyone has that opportunity or the time. So in my experience, what I found to be better than a certification is working with a coach who's doing what you want to do. So like when I'm trying to learn mobility stuff, I hire a mobility coach who's really good at that mobility stuff so I can see what they're doing. I can ask them direct questions. Why did you program this way? What are your cues you're using for this exercise? How are you progressing this? I hired Alex Viato when I wanted to learn more about a lot of like cardio-based training, zone 2 training, high intensity style training. I've hired coaches who are experts in the field that I want to become more of an expert in. That for me is actually better than a certification. Because the certification usually it's not individualized. It's just in a textbook. It's a lot of theoreticals. Whereas working with a coach, like this is practical. This is exactly what we're doing. This is how we're going to adjust it for you. And you can see how the coach responds, how they act, what they're doing as a coach, and how you might implement that within your own systems. So I think certifications, some of them can be wonderful, but if you have the opportunity, I would just say take that money and put it into hiring that coach.
I think that's great advice. And there's something to be said about going through the process yourself that will make the information stickier. If we had a spectrum of stickiness, meaning how well you retain that information, I think doing it yourself is at the far end of heightened retention. Yep. I actually think a certification, if we move across that spectrum, is somewhere in the middle, right? I think testing is a decent way to learn because you're both reading and consuming the information or watching video tutorials, courses, and then you get tested on that material. So it forces you to actually study it and retain it at least for a period of time. And then if you move further on that spectrum, I would say simply consuming the information without being tested on it, at least in my experience, leads to a little bit less retention. Mm-hmm. And so I agree with, everything that you just said. I think a traditional certification, and you mentioned PN for nutrition, the NSCA or NASM have great personal training certifications. Those are a good place to start for a new coach. I think I renewed CPUs once, and either 0 or 1 time. And after that, the bulk of my knowledge outside of working with people in person, which again, we talk about internship, we talk about training clients in person, is unbelievably important. Outside of doing it yourself, whether that's working with a coach who specializes or being more self-taught, beyond those two, I have always found research reviews to be the best place to get new and updated information, especially as new things happen in science, new studies come out, reading summaries of that new evidence, which, usually leads to slight changes in position, not massive changes. But that's the way that I have found the most efficient and effective and has worked best for me in terms of staying up to date on the research over the years after that first 1 to 3 year window.
Yeah. Yeah. Research reviews are amazing. I mean, I'll always be the biggest fan of Alan Aragon's research review, especially from a nutrition perspective. Mm-hmm. But even then, he also does strength training, muscle building stuff, but not as much from what I've seen, performance. I know he has had a little bit in there. I think I contributed to it in 2015 or something, and it was a little bit more of a performance based. It was actually coaching. I remember I was really excited. I wrote about internal versus external cueing. That was a big topic back in the day, 10 years ago. That was a really big topic, which, by the way, that should be a big topic.
Oh, yeah.
That isn't really discussed.
Yeah.
And we can talk about that, but I contributed it to his research review. That was the highlight of my career. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm in Alan Aragon's research review. But yeah, I think that's awesome. By far the best one.
I might dig back and see what you wrote about there.
Bro, this is under discussed nowadays. I feel like back in the day, it was over discussed, and now it's way under discussed.
I feel like it's not discussed at all these days.
Yeah, no one talks about it anymore. Now everyone just argues about the best line of pull to grow their muscles, and it's just fucking A, shut up.
Yeah, in the last 3-4 years, the scientific hypertrophy stuff has really taken off.
It's really annoying. I see these huge debates over whether lat pullovers work your lats or not. And I'm like, why are we having this fucking... Have you seen that?
Not recently, but you and I have talked about this, and it's well, if I do 3 hard sets of them and the next day my lats are really sore, I would imagine they worked my lats.
Your muscles don't get sore if they didn't get worked.
Yep.
Not to mention, let's just look at the function of the shoulder. Okay, how do you get your shoulder to extend? Your lats have your lats have to do that. Dear Lord, sometimes I hate the industry
because those people argue that a pullover is chest focus. Yeah,
correct.
Yeah, correct. No, but internal versus external cueing is huge, and I actually find it most beneficial. For clients who primarily use external cues or have used external cues to try internal cues, and for clients who primarily have used internal cues to try external cues. If for example, you take someone who has been more bodybuilding focused, has been focused on the squeeze of their chest on a bench press, and that has been the main thing they're thinking about is a big chest squeeze for the last 7 years of bench pressing, and you want to get them a little bit faster bar speed, you want to get them stronger, you want to get them more explosive, and you start thinking about, throwing the bar to the ceiling instead of squeezing their chest, that can lead to disproportionate strength gains over, at least a 12-week window.
Yeah, I mean, even within a session. You'll notice increased force output. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. But I'm saying, and even retain benefits from that for weeks.
Yeah. Months. So for everyone who doesn't know, generally the way to think about it is internal cues are cues that make you think about your body in relation to itself. So as Mike was talking about the bench press, thinking about squeezing your chest together, that's an internal cue, right? You're thinking about your body in relation to itself. Whereas an external cue is thinking about your body in relation to something outside of you. So when Mike said throw the bar to the ceiling, now you're thinking about your body in relation to something outside of you, which the research on this is super interesting if you're nerdy, showing that from a performance perspective, from an athletic performance force production perspective, external cues are almost always better in terms of getting people to produce more force, have better rate of force development, be more explosive, more powerful using an external cue. Whereas using an internal cue is often better for specific muscular recruitment. I think internal cues have a really great, phenomenal role in a physical therapy type setting, where like, hey, I really want to get someone to make sure they're using their rotator cuff properly. I want to make sure I'm getting someone, or in a bodybuilding setting, I want to make sure they're feeling this muscle doing the work properly. But in an athletic performance setting, generally external cues tend to do better. So learning when to use both, because you should use both of them. But this is also really important to understand as a coach, especially in the online world. I feel like this is something, if you coach people in person, you almost, as long as you're not like a rock, you pick this up naturally, because like you're going to try different cues out. You're going to realize, okay, so like it makes more sense for me to say, hey, show me the letters on your chest when someone's doing a squat or a deadlift. Show me the letters on your chest so they get more like the chest up position versus just saying chest up. Chest up, people will do some weird shit. You're like, I said chest up. Why did your butt go up? Whereas like when you say, show me the letters on your chest, there's no way to mess that up. It works every single time. So when you're coaching people in person, this happens. But when you're coaching people online, if you don't have much or any experience coaching people in person, it's really helpful to know, all right, here are the cues you can experiment with, because you don't get immediate feedback. You have to say the cue, then they have to go, then they have to film it, then they have to try and remember it. It's like, if you have this experience and knowledge of which cues work best for different situations, it's going to make your online coaching experience much more efficient, which, by the way, can be really frustrating as a client online. If you're giving a bunch of different cues and every time they're sending you videos and it's just not hitting, you could have 3, 4, 5 weeks go by of cueing and they're just not getting it. Then they're going to think that, what's the point? Like, this isn't worth it. You're not helping me. At which point, to be fair, like to make up this entire situation, if I was having real trouble getting someone to understand a cue for online coaching, get them on a Zoom call, get them on a FaceTime, just get them on, like, just, we're going to fix this right now. Let's set up a call. Like, let's talk about this so that you don't just have to keep trying to fix it via email.
Yeah. That, or don't have them only send you a working set when they're doing it. Increase the frequency, even if it's with lighter weight. Like, okay, this cue didn't land. It's Wednesday. We're not waiting until next Wednesday when you do this exercise again. Next time you're in the gym, film one set of this, send it to me. But I agree, because it's kind of a delicate balance between not trying to correct too many things at once, / not trying to put too many thoughts in your client's head at once, with getting the right cue that works for them. And back to your original point, having in-person coaching experience makes it much easier to know, all right, this cue is going to work for this client, or I'm going to go in this order for this particular person in this situation.
Yeah. I used to have people send me minimum squat, bench, deadlift. And what I did, as part of my system, you have to send me your squat, bench, deadlift, and it would be front view, side view, back view.
And the majority of like powerlifting was a strong component in your program design.
Of course. Yeah. And then as like, if they wanted to send me other ones, if they wanted me to check and this is just the initial intake form, if they wanted to send me push up or chin ups or lunges, whatever, but that was the bare minimum of what I needed. And what I had all of the most common technique mistakes pre-written on my form. And so the most common technique mistakes and the most common technique fixes within it was pre-written. So it's like, okay, so they're pitching forward. All right, here's the mistake. Here's the fix. Their knees are caving too much inward. Here's the mistake. Here's the fix. They're whatever it is, like any number of mistakes. And then, rather than having to completely write it new every time, I would already have them pre-written. So then, based on what they sent me, I could just delete the ones that they didn't need and keep the ones that they did need. And that way, it not only saved me time, but also like it kept the standard of my coaching high, because I pre-wrote them with very high quality. So I could be like, hey, this is the issue. This is what I saw. If I needed to go in and edit, I could, but it would save me time and it would make sure they get exactly what they needed.
That's a good idea.
You also brought up a really good point, like in terms of not just doing the working set. Sometimes if you're only getting the working set and maybe that working set is too heavy, you see the technique breakdown, you might want to get a warm-up set. So you can see, okay, so they actually do understand the cue, because when they do the warm-up set, it looks great. But when they go too heavy, their technique breaks down and you're trying to cue them out of that, when the reality is the problem isn't the technique, the problem is they're going too heavy. So get them to see the warm-up set so you can actually see what they think the technique is supposed to look like.
Yeah.
What's the worst kind of ice cream? This is not what I said, and I completely disagree with what this person said. They said, what's the worst kind of ice cream and why is it mint? They said it tastes like toothpaste. I love mint ice cream. Like mint chocolate chip is like top 2 favorite ice creams for me.
You're not a big ice cream guy though, are you?
No, if it's the choice between ice cream and French fries, I choose French fries every single time.
Yeah.
But like, I mean, I like ice cream. It's not like I don't like it.
I agree that mint ice cream is overrated.
That's no. All right. Well, you just like really, you love sweet. You love like the caramel. You love like the sweet stuff. So that makes sense that you wouldn't like mint.
Not necessarily. I find like I really like coconut ice cream. Anyway, the question is, what's the best ice cream?
What's the worst ice cream?
Oh, the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, I would need a list of ice creams in front of me. What's the worst ice cream?
All right. What's your favorite flavor of ice cream? Ice cream, man.
Purely for taste?
Yes. What is the best flavor? Purely for taste.
Best means a lot of things. Are we factoring in nutrition?
No,
Are we factoring in
just
calories?
taste. Just taste.
Okay. The best flavor for taste. I still think it's the Haagen-Dazs white chocolate raspberry truffle.
Okay. Yeah. I bet you like butter pecan.
No, I don't. That's in the bottom quartile of my rankings.
What about pistachio?
I don't like nuts in my ice cream.
I would say that if we're going to rank like the most common flavors of ice cream from worst to best, I feel like pistachio should be the bottom of the barrel.
Oh, yeah, we're on the same page.
And by the way, like I actually enjoy pistachio ice cream. I actually enjoy it. But if we're like compared to everything else, if we're comparing it like chocolate, strawberry, vanilla, cookies and cream, chocolate chip, cookie dough, coffee, all this stuff, pistachio is the bottom of the barrel.
I'm with you. Something to consider about ice cream is texture is very important and toppings are very important. So what is actually in the ice cream can be just as important as the flavor of the ice cream itself, right? The best pure flavor ice cream I've ever had was actually a cherry gelato in Italy. And
when did you go to Italy?
Coach Gary there in 2019.
Oh, yeah. Got it. Yeah.
And made a vacation out of it too. It was great.
What are some of your favorite toppings?
Ooh, depends on the ice cream. We don't need to spend too much time on this. People got to be bored out of their mind. But I would like a Cold Stone cake batter flavored, and maybe you get some bananas in there. Those flavor profiles go well together. Like a marshmallow or marshmallow cream in the mix there. Maybe some dark sprinkles.
Marshmallow cream is a topping?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Like they mix it in at Cold Stone.
You know, for everyone listening, the t-shirts that Mike made a fortune on said ice cream fits my macros. He is the authority on this.
On ice cream. Yeah.
Yeah.
I did not make a fortune on those t-shirts. The margins were terrible. Selling merch is not a good way to make money unless you have a really big audience or you're unbelievable at ads.
Yeah. Here's a good question. What are Mike's top 4 movies?
My top 4 favorite movies are Braveheart, Rounders. Let's see what movies I have purchased here.
Can I guess? Can I guess?
Yeah, you can guess. But I have a few that I'm not even going to try and make a solid top 4 because there's some other ones that I really like. Lion King. Angels in the Outfield, a couple throwback Disney movies that are amazing.
Was Angels in the Outfield the one where they're like, if you build it, they will come?
No, that's Field of Dreams.
Oh, yeah, Field of Dreams. Yeah. Oh, Angels in the Outfield, is that the one where... That's not the one where the kid, his arm goes...
That's the rookie or rookie
Oh,
of the
the
year?
rookie. Yeah. Rutabaga.
Yeah. No, Angels in the Outfield is... Why am I blanking on this guy's name? The Robin in the third Batman. Joseph Gordon-Levitt is the main character.
Oh, man, I need to watch that movie again.
It's a classic.
Wow.
Right?
Wow,
It's this
yeah.
terrible baseball team and these Angels. I honestly don't even remember it that well, but the Angels help the team win and only he can see the Angels. And so he's sitting down there and I think Danny Glover is the manager of the baseball team and he's like talking to this 11-year-old kid and the kid's like, oh, you got to put in this guy. He's like, I'm not starting him. He's the worst player. He's like, he's got an angel. And he puts him in and it's
They
got
don't
a really,
make movies like that anymore.
no, they sure do not. It's got a great message too. The kid's in a foster home, like his dad abandoned him basically. And I'm not going to give it away for people who haven't seen it, but it's got a feel good it's a great movie. Now I'm thinking
From
about
94.
Danny Glover's character development over the course of the movie to the end of it is, I'm going to rewatch it maybe tonight.
Yeah, maybe I should as well. Maybe I'll get some mint chocolate chip ice cream and watch that movie.
I don't think mint chocolate chip ice cream is bad. I just think it's maybe slightly overrated. It's not my favorite. It's in the middle.
I thought you were going to say Shawshank.
I mean, that's the greatest movie of all time.
Okay.
Objectively.
So that's top 5. Top 4.
Batman Begins, I love. Gladiator's a classic. Interstellar's a classic. The Count of Monte Cristo, amazing. Yeah. I really like the movie The Family Man by Nicolas Cage.
I don't think I've seen that. Or
not by Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage is in it. It's The Family Man hit me at the right time in my life, and I would recommend it for any like bachelors in their 20s or 30s.
Okay.
It's really, The Family Man's
why? Because it changes your
audience.
Priorities and like gets you like thinking about what matters in life and what you've got to do. Yeah.
It's like a Christmas in New York style movie.
Oh,
and
good.
He is this hotshot banker, bachelor, rich, penthouse, has this perfect life, playboy kind of guy. And he, again, I don't want to give away too much of this one either, but something happens where he sees what his life could have been if he stayed with this girl from his past. And, it's a much less flashy life, but with more meaning and substance. And it's a good one.
I need to watch that one too.
The Guardian was a favorite of mine. It's not like technically the best movie or technically a great movie. It's got Kevin Costner and Ashton Kutcher, but made me think about enlisting in the military back in college.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh. It has a really good soundtrack too.
You know what's a great movie? It is a completely different genre, completely like altogether, is Taken with Liam Neeson.
Yeah. Yeah. A little thriller, a little action.
I will find you. Yeah.
You like more thrill in your movies.
Yeah, I like action movies. I either like action or comedy. You like meaning. You like, I need to have real meaning to this movie. You treat movies like a lot of people treat tattoos. Like tattoos, a lot of people need to have real meaning to it. They're not just going to get like a random tattoo. For you, like movies, you want to have real good character arc. You want to have really like good people in there.
For my favorite movies, I'm not going to put a random comedy as, yes, top 4. He didn't ask, 31 through 36, right?
Yeah. That's good. It's funny. I didn't even realize between like Shawshank and what were the other ones you said? You said Shawshank and you said the other like top
Gladiator,
3.
Braveheart, Interstellar.
Braveheart, and then Count of Monte Cristo, blah, blah, blah. I've only watched them because you told me to watch them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you've got to watch The Office because I've told you to watch it. I think you're going to get into it.
Anytime I see an Office clip that I like and want to send you, you've already liked it. And so I'm like, okay, well, I don't need to send this to him. He already. But even not watching the show and seeing the clip, some of them are really funny.
Yeah. Yeah. They're even funnier when you watch the show. All right, let's see. Do you have time for another one?
Yeah, let's do one more quick one.
Jonesy Bones, no question, but I love you guys. Thank you, Jonesy Bones.
Thanks, Jonesy.
How angry are you on a scale of 1 to 100?
Oh, that's a great question.
I'm always wrong about the questions I think you're going to like versus
well, it's
not
funny.
like.
It's because that's a real listener right there, because why else would that get asked?
Yeah.
No one would know to ask that. Maybe a 16 coming into this episode, and I'm at an 11 now.
Oh, good. I brought your anger down. Nice.
Yeah.
Usually I bring your anger up.
That's not true at all. Why do you think that?
No, sometimes on phone calls, like, hey, what do you got? Anything actionable for me?
No, you don't
see ya.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing. I've been thinking about this. I stopped screening people. Like in the last few years, I don't screen people. I answer my phone when it rings. And I might need to go back to screening people, because as an I derive energy from solitude, and I lose energy from interaction as someone who's technically introverted. And so sometimes I'm walking and listening to a great book, or having a really pulling apart a thought in my head, and then it gets interrupted by a phone call and I don't screen anymore. And so I'm like,
you got to start screening, bro.
I'm like, hello? Like, can I help you? Like, we just talked an hour ago. Did something magnificent happen? They're like, hey, what are you doing? I'm like, I'm really figuring out life in my head right now. Like, cool.
Nice.
Oh, cool.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. But even like my dad called me during my workout today, and I was pinched for time on my lift. And when my dad is extroverted, and I just know that 7 years ago I wouldn't have answered. And it's probably character development to answer in those situations, and like, Bill Burr, like push it down and like be like reasonable with the person. But I think I need to adopt my strategy and go with the call them back method.
Yeah. Sometimes you're just not available, so just don't pick it up.
Yeah, but I think that, but I am technically available.
Yeah, you gotta make yourself not available sometimes. Yeah, if it's not me, if it's someone else, but if it's me, you should be available.
Oh, you're available to entertain. Where's your anger at?
My anger's low. Fear's high. Anger's low.
Why is your fear high?
I don't want to end the podcast on a bad note. It was that the guy I sent you last night for the just
horseshoe.
insane amounts of like the insane like anti-Semitic to the extreme comments, but not just that, but the engagement that this guy was getting. Hundreds of thousands of people agreeing with the most horrific things he was saying about Jews. I was like, dear Lord.
Yeah, that's
not
scary.
good right now. Yeah, scary. So fear's high on that front right now. But anger's low. Not really angry about it. Well, I'm angry, but overall, anger's low. It's a good day.
Like an 8 or like a 25?
I mean, I feel like my low is like an 18. That's like my low.
Okay.
I don't, you're at an 11 is pretty crazy. I don't know if I've been an 11 since I was like 8.
It's just a low level amount of anger.
Yeah. Anger is, I don't know, maybe 20 out of 100.
Where was it at the beginning of the pod?
At the beginning of that's a good question. That's a good measure. All right. Where were you before? Where were you after? I think anger before the pod, probably at 26.
Oh, it came down.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Good
pod. That's
Great
it.
pod.
Hope everyone enjoyed it.
Last chance to get in at this price. Otherwise, it's going to be quite a bit more expensive.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
You can't say we didn't tell you.
True.
Have a wonderful week.
Great week. Let's get it. See you next week. Goodbye.